were asked why they married each other, why they love each other. But before we jump into it, let me remind you to like and subscribe. It definitely helps the channel out, and we are growing at an awesome rate. I am absolutely loving it, so thank you very much. But let's jump into it and talk about what happened in this episode and some of my favorite scenes. Of course, if you remember from last episode, Tsukasa and Nasa are going over to Nasa's parents' house to meet, because again, they have to not approve essentially because it's already said and done, but they do want to get Nasa's parents' approval. So that's awesome. I can't wait to meet Nasa's parents. But this episode, we're dealing with Chitose. Now, she was talking about how couples, whenever they go on the honeymoon, problems can arise to when they get back, they automatically get a divorce. Now, I didn't know that was actually a thing. That's a term that they have over in Japan. So I wonder if it's like a cultural thing. Now, I'm sure all over the world, people actually go on their honeymoon and something happens, they come back and they get divorced. I know it happens, but to actually have a term of it, whenever, like in Japan, I feel like it happens more over there if they actually have a term for it. I don't know, maybe somebody that's really experienced with Japan culture can let me know in the comments. But yeah, that was a very interesting little fact. I absolutely loved it. But when Nasa and Tsukasa were inside of the little cafeteria where all the different restaurants, I love this scene because it reminds me of my wife and I. I mean, I'm the same way as Tsukasa, right? Like if I go to another state, if I go on vacation, wherever I go, I'm always trying to eat food that I can get in the state that I'm from, right? Because what's the point of going to a chain restaurant when you're out somewhere else, right? Try to get new foods, try to expand your palate, try new things. That's my philosophy, right? I love eating food. I love food. And if I can get, new stuff anywhere else, I will go for it at least once. My wife, on the other hand, she doesn't care too much about it, right? Like, yeah, she'll try it. But, at the end of the day, she doesn't really care too much about food. She'll go to a chain restaurant. She doesn't really care that much. So I was definitely on Tsukasa's side. Whenever they were trying to try that lime udon, that was... Honestly, I wouldn't have tried it because it looked kind of nasty. I don't like lime that much. But, Tsukasa wanted to try it because it was a new experience, right? A new experience. It was awesome. And I was on her side because all the different restaurants that you could choose, it was absolutely amazing. While Nasa just wanted to eat at your typical, like, little, Chinese restaurant or whatever, like a chain restaurant. And, of course, Tsukasa and, at first, you're going to think they got into it, but really it was more like a little, teasing each other, right? So at the end of the day, they went with the lime, and it was funny when they were eating it because it was bland. It wasn't that good. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Sometimes I go and try something new and I absolutely hate it, and then I have to go back and get something else because I have to eat. I don't want to force myself to eat something that I absolutely hated. But with this lime udon, we see that Tsukasa, she tried it. She tried to eat the slime, and Nasa was taking pictures of her because of the funny faces. A very cute moment. We see that, Chitose's little plan ain't going to work out, where essentially Chitose wants the honeymoon or this little phase to go wrong, so when they get back, they will get divorced. Now, this is the first time that we're seeing Nasa and Tsukasa kind of being together alone and kind of learning about each other, right? Because later on in the episode, once they get to Kyoto, we see that Nasa had this whole plan, this whole guide for Kyoto so they can go sightseeing, and the roles are reversed in this situation, right? Where we see that Nasa, he wants to go see the historical monuments, the shrines, and all that stuff, while Tsukasa wants to go see the modern stuff. She wants to go see like the manga museum and stuff like that. So it seems like they're a complete opposite people, just like my wife and I. I mean, that's why I love this episode so much, because I can see the parallels in the relationship I have with my wife, because my wife and I, we're completely opposites. I mean, I watch anime, she doesn't. I play a lot of games, she doesn't. She likes more like reality TV and stuff like that. Not so much for me. So yeah, my wife and I were completely opposite people, and it's awesome. It's okay to have, different interests, and that's why I love this episode so much, because it just reminded me of my wife. Every time we go out to eat, I'm like, are you sure you want the same thing? Like, you don't want to try something new? Like, it was funny. It reminded me of my wife. That's why I love this episode. But yeah, just seeing how these two characters are interacting with each other when, we never really got to see them go on a date by themselves in the long haul, right? So this episode was awesome because of that, because we got to see them interact. And now, of course, we also see Chitose confront Tsukasa as to why she married Nasa. Why was the point of her marrying Nasa? So we see that Chitose really does not accept this marriage, to the point that when she confronted Nasa, Nasa took it upon himself to say, you know what? I really want to prove people that we're supposed to be married. I want to get people's approval. because they don't want to do this like kind of like against their family's will, right? Like they want to be accepted by all of them. Tsukasa, I don't think she cares that much about it. Again, my theory is that Tsukasa was kind of adopted into Chitose's family. And later on, we find out why Chitose really like is so defensive when it comes to Tsukasa, because Tsukasa ended up saving Chitose's life, just like Tsukasa saved Nasa's life. So they have that in common. And I think whenever Nasa revealed that information to Chitose, it kind of, you know, switched her mind around a little bit, right? Because now we know why Nasa really does love Tsukasa that much. One, she saved his life, but on top of that, he went against everything, right? He almost died trying to proclaim his love. And I love how Nasa somehow used the Drake equation, which is used to determine how much intelligent life is out there in the universe. How he used that equation to kind of explain the love for Tsukasa, how it is equally as hard to not only find intelligent life out in the universe, that's why we haven't found any, but it is equally as hard to find the person that you're supposed to be love with, that your fate is kind of intertwined with. And the fact that Nasa and Tsukasa are those two people is awesome. Now, that's one way to look at it, right? Because you don't actually know if those two characters are supposed to be fated for each other, right? That's just something that we humans kind of made up to make it seem like we're supposed to be together. But it was a awesome moment, a cute moment, and I liked it. I like the fact that Nasa kind of stepped up and, you know, told Chitose, look, let's have a conversation. Let's go, you know, sightseeing in Kyoto. I'll talk to you and I will convince you as to why I need to be with Tsukasa, why I love Tsukasa. And I love how, like, the maids took Tsukasa to do what she wanted to do. You know, she wanted to go see the manga museum, but she did compromise. She did compromise. That's very important in a relationship, right? You have to be able to do what both of you want, right? You can't just you know, do whatever you want to do. It's going to be a one-sided relationship. So I love how both characters in both situations kind of compromise for each other, right? We see Nasa compromise with the food that he wanted to eat, try something new, even though it was kind of nasty. They didn't like it, but he did compromise. And then later on, we see Tsukasa compromise in Nasa's what he wanted to do, right? He wanted to go visit the shrines, and Tsukasa kind of compromised, and, you know, she got on that kimono, which I do have to talk about it, because once we see that kimono and how the art was drawn for that kimono, you can tell the difference in quality between Tsukasa wearing the kimono and like Nasa wearing his normal street clothes. You can tell like they definitely put a lot more effort drawing that kimono. So it was awesome, but it just made the rest of the episode kind of look worse than what it actually was, because it was just high detail compared to like very generic art style for the rest of the characters. But yeah, this episode, absolutely great. I love the ending of how kind of Chitose, after having that conversation with Nasa, it seems like she is accepting that that relationship. It looks like she is accepting the fact that Nasa and Tsukasa are married and that they love each other. And heck, even when they asked each other, right? Whenever the maids asked Tsukasa, why does she love Nasa? And she explained, you know, she loves his personality. He's a genuine nice person, because every time he introduces somebody to her, he always makes you know, goes out of his way to say something nice about that person. So he's a genuine nice person, and that's something important. That's what Tsukasa was looking for in her partner, right? Somebody that's nice, somebody that's cute. She did say he was cute. So I'm pretty sure if Nasa would have heard that, he would have just gone into his fantasy land, especially when, you know, remember when Chitose kind of kidnapped him and he thought it was because he was cute. So if he was to hear about that with Tsukasa saying that, he would have just have a blessed day. He would have been so happy. But yeah, and then when we see Nasa's side, right, we see that he really does love her, because it was just, he thinks it's fate. He believes it's fate. He loves everything about her, and he's going to use that marriage to prove why he should be with Tsukasa, right? The marriage is not about you know, that they love each other. No. The way Nasa, and this is a good takeaway. I like how Nasa is looking at the marriage, right? He's not thinking about, oh, they love each other, that's why they got married. No, the reason why he got married is to prove why he loves Tsukasa. So that's a very good message. I absolutely loved it. Again, good episode. I can't wait to meet Nasa's parents next episode. I wonder if they're going to be more on the funny side, because I think they are. I think they're going to be more acceptable than Chitose at first, and we'll see where that goes. Now, my little kind of thing that I wish would have happened at the end was if Chitose would have stayed around to go to Nasa's parents' house, because I do like Chitose. I like the way she behaves and stuff like that, like her character. I love it. So I would love to see more of her on screen, but it looks like she went back to Tokyo because she kind of accepted for now that Nasa and Tsukasa love each other, so she's okay with it. Hopefully, we get to see her in the future. I mean, we're on episode 7. We got like 5 episodes left, I believe. So, I mean, this season is going by so fast. We're 7 weeks in. That's absolutely crazy. So, yeah, overall, great episode. Let me remind you to like and subscribe. And like always, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next episode.